Hello, spooky friends, and welcome to another episode of Storytime with the Scariest Podcast.
Woo!
I'm Robin Grace's Adam Diaz.
Hello.
And today we're here to bring you folks some more homegrown horrors. Adam, why don't you tell us what some homegrown horrors are?
Homegrown horrors are the one... Sorry, swallowed a bug. Homegrown horrors are the wonderful stories that you folks have sent to us, whether you've emailed them to us, tweeted them at us, direct messaged them on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all those wonderful things. And they can be different things. They can be paranormal, supernatural, spiritual, sometimes coincidental and funny, sometimes true crime, sometimes extraterrestrial in nature. I accidentally spoiled how you can send them to us, but Robin, if folks had a story like that, how can they send them to us?
You can email us at storytime@scariest.com. You can also go to our website, which just so happens to be scariest.com.
Just so happens.
And you can go to the contact us page, fill out that form, and it gets emailed to us that way.
Indeed. And we look forward to hearing from you. We love hearing these stories. And also let us know whether or not you would like it to be shared on the show. Because typically if we get it and it doesn't say so, we assume that it's just meant for us and you're just not wanting to share it with everyone. But if you reach out to us and say, actually go ahead and share this on the show, we would be more than happy to do so. So that said, I think I'm going to be going and jumping into the first story of the evening, if I am not mistaken.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and get this party started. The first one that we have for this episode is subjected from Anonymous on Facebook. So that means they sent us a message on Facebook. They said, keep this anonymous. And then one of us, in this case it was me, sent it to our email so I can make sure and put it in the queue properly. It starts out like this. I was listening to the Jeffrey Dahmer episode earlier and remembered something I've been meaning to share with you both. A little over a month ago, I learned my 6 degrees of separation from Jeffrey Dahmer.
What is the one from Kevin Bacon? Is it 6 degrees?
Well, here's the thing. The entire idea of 6 degrees of separation started with how far apart are you from Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
So it used to be called 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Now it's called 6 degrees of separation. So.
Oh, gotcha.
Everyone's is different. It's like, depending on what person you want to be connected with, it's how far away can you be. And like, apparently the study done on this states that any person on the planet is a maximum of 6 degrees of separation away from someone else. So I'm 6 degrees away from like Kim Jong-un or whoever the fuck else.
There's no effing way.
There is a way, because like you know someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows someone. It only takes 6 people to get you there, just based off it. There's almost 8 billion people now. That might go up to 7 soon. I don't know. I don't do the maths.
Okay.
But that's what 6 degrees of separation are, and this person is letting us know what their 6 degrees is from Jeffrey Dahmer. It continues. If you'll recall, at one point, one of his victims escaped and was found naked and bleeding in the street by a couple of women. 2 cops showed up, and Dahmer was trying to explain that it was his boyfriend, and that he pulled, quote, pranks like this when he was drunk.
I remember covering that.
He even takes them back to his apartment and shows them, quote, consensual photos of his victims, or of his victim as proof that they were together. The cops let him go, and that boy was killed not long after. Mm-hmm. Now, I live in Milwaukee, and I have a friend that used to waitress at an Italian restaurant downtown. One of the cops that let Dahmer go used to be a regular at said restaurant and would occasionally talk about it. I don't think he got into much detail, but he told her multiple times that he regrets letting him go every single day.
That's really sad.
I was baffled when she first told me this. It kind of hit me like a slap in the face. I've been aware of the idea of being 6 degrees of separation from literally everyone else in the world, but considering how many people there are in the world, it's baffling to try and fully grasp the concept. As someone who is very into true crime, it was bonkers to find that I'm just 2 people away from knowing a well-known serial killer. Please feel free to share this on the pod, but I do ask that you keep me anonymous. I'm sure the cop's name is out there somewhere, but for the protection of myself and my friend, I'd appreciate it if my name was left off, which we have left off. Thank you both for doing what you do, and I hope you're continuing to stay well in these crazy times. Much love to you both.
Thank you so much for sending that in. It's absolutely crazy to know anyone who knows a serial killer or a murderer or
met
something.
them or run across their path at some point. I think that's the biggest thing to remember when you're doing 6 degrees is that they don't have to know them personally, just have met them at one point, you know? Mm-hmm. So like, I'm 1 degree of separation from Adrian Brody. Because I met Adrian Brody.
Me too.
She has too. It's our first fight ever because I didn't think it was actually Adrian Brody. He just looked like Adrian Brody. And we had just met, so I didn't want to be the dude that was like, yeah, I told Adrian Brody came in the store today, no big deal. And then he came in the next day and was like talking to her and she was like, we just met Adrian Brody. I was like, oh, he was there yesterday. And she was like, why the fuck didn't you say anything? I was like, I don't know if it was him or not. So, but yeah, it is really creepy to think of how close you could be. I often think of how many times I have crossed the path or spoken to or bumped into or walked next to like a murderer or a serial killer or some like violent offender in my day to day before or directly after they just committed a crime, you know? Because I'm sure it's happened and you just don't know how often or how frequent that possibly could have happened. I know of one where I spoke with someone and then that person went inside and later on that night got into a fight and killed someone. So just thinking about that is crazy enough. But thank you so much for sending that in. The 6 degrees thing is definitely mind blowing, especially when it's one of the most well-known serial killers of all time.
Yep.
So
pretty much. All right, so I'm going to get into the next story here. The subject is scariest time at work, lighthearted fun. I like lighthearted stories, especially when it comes to story time when it's like hilarious.
I like lighthearted stories, but I despise fancy-free stories. So lighthearted, yes. Fancy-free, no. If this is fancy-free, I will shut this shit down. Go ahead.
All right, it says, aloha, Robin and Adam.
Aloha.
Aloha. Adam keeps making jokes about Ohana because...
I used to get it mixed up.
Yeah.
Ohana means family, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I used to say Ohana
It means no one gets left behind.
I used to say Ohana meant home, and she'd be like, I hate you. So now I just basically say, like, whatever comes to mind. Yesterday, I was just like, Ohana means Target, right? Or some stupid shit like that when we were walking to Target.
Stupid. Anyway, it continues. I'm originally from Hawaii. I'm from Molokai, and my family is Niihau. So how's it, cousins?
That's funny.
What's up? All right. So please feel free to share on the podcast if you like. Well, it's here. We're on the podcast. This is happening. I totally get it, Robin. Hawaii is never a holiday destination for me, but for the family, hubby, kids, and fur baby, it so is. There are so many people that are like, I want to go back to Hawaii for a trip. And I'm just like, no, no. And we, after Adam's topic about the sharks too, I'm just big nope. I don't go swimming in the ocean anyway. All right. So, family, my tutu wahine will not let me leave her presence on Niihau when I go home to Hawaii. I can't even visit friends or family on different islands or go shopping. For me, it's straight there after landing on a bigger island first. Anyway, on to it. I was referred to your podcast by Jessica Braun on YouTube. Shout out to Jessica Braun. Thank you so much for shouting out to it. Like, oh my God, you guys have no idea how much it means to us. If you guys share us with any of your friends, any of your followers, whatever, it means the world to us. It really does, because
it's true.
We're little baby podcasters and we don't know what we're doing.
We appreciate all the help we can get.
I thoroughly enjoy the pod. I've been listening to all your previous episodes, but I was going to wait until I heard everything in its entirety prior to submitting my story. However, I've decided to grow a pair and just do it.
Just do it.
Right? Is that what Shia LaBeouf does in his video where he's just like, just do it?
Yes.
And he like,
I don't know what else happens in that video. I don't know. I quote the part because other people have quoted it around me.
I work for my local county and work alternative hours, even more so now due to our COVID world. Normally, I'm in the office by myself. I quite like it because I can work without distraction and I'm able to listen to whatever I like at whatever volume I like. One evening last year prior to Halloween, I was listening to your podcast and creepypastas. It was super dark, and as normal, I was alone at the office. This particular evening, I was processing paperwork, inputting data, and the like. So I'm steadily creeping myself out, listening to creepyish/scariest stuff, when out of nowhere, the whole building loses electricity. My computer, lights, everything disengaged. You could literally hear the power go down.
It's kind of a satisfying sound when you're in an office building. It's like, ooh.
Well, remember we were at E3 and everything, all
we
the lights went out.
We were watching a video in
and
a
you could
booth
hear it.
where it was supposed to be like
someone was hacking the
you were being
system.
hacked, and then everything went dark, and someone stepped in with a flash and was like,
This isn't part of
it.
But you could hear all the lights in the entire warehouse.
Yeah.
It's a very specific sound when electricity goes out like that. It's like that whom.
It's like first you hear like a tsh, and then after that you hear like a oh nuts, and that's the lights. That's
and the only thing worked at E3 was the switches. It was so funny. So except for my phone, that is still spewing its creepy story. So the lights go out, the phone is still
dark.
going.
That's so funny.
I creeped my own damn self out. I looked out of my office and all the lights in the parking area and other offices around me are also out. It's literally dark o'clock, butt crack, dark outside, and I screamed like a little girl. I called my bosses to let them know that I'm out and I would be back to work tomorrow, hopefully with electricity. I didn't ask. I told them that I was out. This fat chick, me, walked and waddled down the stairs to the parking lot and into my car and drove straight home. Dude, I would do the same thing. If there were no lights in the parking lot, no lights at any of the buildings, I'm out. There's no way I'm staying.
The first thing I would say is, oh, hell no. And then I would leave. I'd be like, fuck this.
Turns out someone drove their car into a transformer.
Ooh.
My work area was out of electricity for a few days. Go figure. Anyway, that's my story. In retrospect, I totally laugh about it. I may share other stories later. Hoping you have an awesome day, night, evening, whatever it is for you. All my aloha, Pia. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's so funny. And I would do the exact same thing. I'd be like, I'm supposed to be doing computer work. There's no electricity. I'm leaving. Can't
do my job. Also, this is terrifying. I'm going to, as Robin puts it, for the last, 170 something episodes, hashtag nope the fuck out.
You know what's funny about getting scared or scaring yourself is yesterday I was at work and I have my own cubicle. It's quiet when you're in there just doing your thing and I have headphones in because I listen to other stuff. I started one of the Ghoul Boys, one of their things. They have, like a scary section, right, that they do. And I started one of their videos. And so they're starting to tell a scary story. And my coworker walks into my cube and she tries her best to
be
noisy,
not
scare me.
Because Robin jumps at literally everything.
And I freaked out. And she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's fine. I just started some horror stuff and that's why I'm scared. And she always tries to not scare me. She knocks and is just really nice and quiet.
I try and approach her as loudly as possible. I'll even announce my presence on the way down the hallway, or she's in the bathroom and I'm coming into the bathroom. I'll be like, I'm just coming in the bathroom now, not to scare you. No matter what, she always gets scared though. So this was a really good story. And you have way more reason to be scared of being surrounded by darkness.
Yep.
And I would do the exact same thing. Yeah. So one more time, thank you for sending that in.
Thank you.
So before we move into our next story, we are going to take a really quick commercial break. And we're back. So the next story that we have is a subject of the Wendigo of Port Matilda. And I actually reached out to this person because I thought that this was supposed to be a pasta time. And they're like, nah, dog, this shit happened. So I was like, all right, well, I'm putting it on Storytime next week then. So here we go. It was a cold night in November, and I'm driving on I-99 in Pennsylvania around 15 minutes outside the city of State College. It's around 1 a.m. I've made this drive plenty of times, and this time the interstate is mostly empty. It's only me going around 77 miles per hour. It's good to know exactly how fast you're going, because if you were at 88, you could go back in time. Going around 77 miles per hour, and what I think is a Honda further ahead of me, about half a mile ahead of me, I'm unsure. All of a sudden, I see the car ahead of me swerve violently, but it looks like he's okay, and the car continues. I assume that the guy ahead of me almost hit a deer or clipped it. For those of you that's not from the Midwest or the East Coast, where there's heavily dense forested areas or suburban areas especially, rural areas. I try and not sound crazy when I say rural, but it just happens. It just sounds like a guttural noise. Deer are fucking everywhere. I tried to explain that to Robin when we were back in Northwest Indiana one time. And as I was explaining, I was like, just go slow on these back roads. I know it's urgent. It's tempting to go fast. Just go slow because there's going to be deer. How many deer popped out right after I said that?
4 or 5.
They just crossed the road hit us if you want, bitch. We'll be fine. So clipping a deer is something very common. All right, back to the story. A quick aside. I-99 in this area runs pretty high up the mountain, and there's nothing between the interstate and the lower valley down below. So I was surprised that deer are up this high. Nevertheless, I slow down in the case the carcass of the deer is still on the road. I keep decelerating all the way down to 35-ish miles per hour. As I get closer, I make out what looks like a deer or what remains of it. However, at my point of closest approach, I realize that it's not a deer. At this point, I'm doing 10-ish miles per hour.
So you've slowed down a whole bunch.
A bunch.
The figure was roughly taller than my car. My car clears maybe 6 feet if you include the bike racks. The thing has the head of a deer or moose, I don't know, but it had massive antlers and looked like it had signs of decay. The body was long and lanky but very humanoid. It had brown fur, but the body looked like it had wounds and open gashes. The legs were bulky but stout. The arms were just as bizarre and extremely long, with really massive claws accompanying the arms. The figure didn't seem to be bothered. It just looked straight ahead. His, her, it. I would go with it. It's a cryptid. Its focus unbroken. After passing it, I accelerated quickly, and in my rearview mirror, I saw the figure run haphazardly to the side of the door. Its arms wailing in the air, kind of like those inflatable tube men you see in advertising. After a minute or two, I catch up to the car that was ahead of me and see that the car is structure-wise okay. No signs that the guy hit whatever that thing was. I pass him and get home. The next day, I recant the story to my work friends and try my best to draw the figure. After drawing it, one of my friends does a Google search for cryptids and shows me a picture. He asks, "Is this it?" I quickly affirm, and my friend says, "This is a Wendigo." I never saw that thing again, and every time I crossed that patch of interstate, I carried guns in the car just in case. And that's the end. Holy shit.
I'd be scared if I actually saw something in the wild that I wasn't necessarily sure what it was. You know what I mean?
I would also be scared if I saw something that I thought got hit by a car and it was standing upright, you know? And more importantly, anything that looks like a Wendigo is going to be terrifying in general. Like, just seeing a moose in real life, I was like, that thing is fucking huge.
Seeing videos where moose walk past cars and really all you're seeing is its chest freaks me out.
Yeah, the moose are basically looking at the top of your car to inspect how clean it is. They're so tall. So if this thing was that tall, it's gotta be fucking terrifying. So thank you so much for surviving that and writing that in.
All right, so this next email here is titled Storytime, and it begins, "Hey, Adam and Robin."
Hello.
Hey. It's your friendly, haunted high school custodian here.
Oh, shit.
I've sent a story in the past about my high school, but I've got another one for you guys that just happened today. It's so funny when weird stuff happens, and then you guys are like, I gotta send it to them. Yep. They need to know what happened.
I love that that's the instinct. It is so wonderful to hear.
I was taking out trash after lunch ended for the students, and as I was walking down one of the halls, I saw a student who wasn't wearing a mask. We made eye contact, and she started walking away from me. I thought it was because she didn't want me to tell her to put a mask on, but then I turned the same corner she did. No more than 5 to 10 seconds later, she was gone. Poof. I looked at all the ways she could have gone, but she wasn't at any of them, and she didn't have enough time to get to the exits at the end of them before I turned the corner unless she sprinted. My boss was at the end of the hallways, and I told him what had happened. Not only had the same thing happen to him a few years back, but it was in the same hallway and the same scenario. He then told me about a time when he was working at night that he heard a loud scream like someone was in pain, but him and his coworker couldn't find anyone. They even had one of the admins look at the cameras, but no one was around at that time.
Holy shit.
Oh my, if you have cameras, if the cameras caught the scream, you know, that would freak me out.
The craziest thing is, like, a haunted high school, I always imagine is going to have some type of, like, grown-up or older person that's haunting it. I don't know why, but, like, haunted teenagers, like ghost teenagers in a high school, like, that's just a different level of terrifying, because those are some of the worst human beings on the fucking planet. These kids in high school. If you get the wrong kid in high school that's a ghost, like, you might as well burn the high school to the ground. I'm just saying.
There's a reason why
no saving it.
There's a reason why My Chemical Romance has that song where it's like teenagers scared the living shit out
true.
of me. Yeah.
100% accurate.
Anyways, thanks for all the stuff you guys do, and I love listening to the podcast in an empty high school at 5 a.m. Thanks, Shandon. Thank you so much for sending that in. I think being in any building at night or early in the morning, like 5 a.m, is terrifying.
Being in a large building when it's dark and quiet is uneasy, and to say the least.
There's so many rooms, you don't know who could be in what room or where. The high school that I went to in Texas was the blueprint of the building was a mental institution. So how it was built was to kind of keep you all inside. So all the walkways and stuff were all bars, like jail bars looking.
That's fucked up.
But
that reminds me again of Hocus Pocus when they go to the school and they're like, "What is this? Is this a place for children?" And she goes, "It's a prison for children." It's true.
But so schools can be very terrifying, especially when there's no one else there. It's just crazy. But thank you so much for sending another story into us.
Thank you. I hope nothing else happens to you, because that sounds haunting. However, if something else does happen to you, tell us immediately. We want to know about it.
Oh, I mean, you know what it reminds me of? The Ghost in Them.
Yeah. The cheerleader ghost?
Yes. Oh, spoilers if you guys haven't seen that show.
I mean, it's pretty obvious the cheerleader's a ghost. They tell you in like the 3rd episode or some shit, but yeah. Either way, good stuff. Thank you so much for sending that in. I want to thank everyone who wrote into us this week. We sincerely appreciate when you send your wonderful stories to us and you allow us to share them. They're all fantastic. It's been such a pleasure to go through like 163 episodes of stories that you folks have sent us. It is absolutely mind-boggling that we've gotten that much and we continue to get stories. So thank you one more time.
I mean, if you think about it, we do 4 stories an episode. That's a lot of stories.
We used to do 6.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's kind of
crazy. And we have
crazy.
100-something episodes? You guys!
Hundreds upon hundreds of stories that have been entrusted to us to tell, and we hope we've done our best. If you have a story you would like to share with us, please email storytime@scarish.com or go to our website, scarish.com, and click on Contact Us. If you fill out that form, it comes directly to us. Don't even have to worry about it going through anyone else. Or you can hit us up on our social medias. Facebook is facebook.com/scarishpodcast. Twitter is @scarishpod, and Instagram is @scarishpodcast. Feel free to reach out however you are most comfortable. Robin, for folks who would like to donate to us, how can they do so?
If you want to donate to us, you can go to patreon.com/scarishpodcast. Those are monthly donations. There's a few different tiers to check out there. Tiers start at $1, and at $1 you get ad-free, which you can't go wrong with ad-free. And if you're not into the whole monthly subscription type thing, you can go on over to Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/scarishpodcast. Those are one-time donations. All your donations really just get reinvested into the show. It just keeps us going. We keep making new stuff, kind of upgrade our studio setup. We've upgraded our mics like 4 times since the show has started.
True.
Because you guys just help us out.
Actually it's only 2.
Is it only 2?
Yeah, because we did the first upgrade, which was to professional quality. Then we did the second upgrade to like SM7B, sure, amazing.
Oh, and then our cameras have changed too.
Cameras
so we
have
had like a
changed.
GoPro first, and then we had a camera, and now we have this new camera setup that hopefully you folks
Split
like better.
webcams, but they're solid webcams.
But,
so they're
but
pretty
we
good.
can't do it without you. Thanks to everybody who's helped us out.
Yeah, we appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for watching, listening, however you support us. It means the world to us, and I think that's just about everything we have. So, Robin, go ahead and sign us out.
Keep on creeping on, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.